So, hey, everybody, we're talking AI today, and there are a lot of misconceptions, a lot of myths, and a lot of questions people have. Am I going to be replaced by ChatGPT? Is AI something I should invest in? All kinds of things. And I think the first thing that we want to talk about is a big confusion that happens around the information that you actually get from AI tools. So when people are talking about Chat GPT, they're talking about basically something that's very open. And there are people that are creating more proprietary type tools. And people need to know what the difference is between being open and having a proprietary AI tool.
So
So
it's
what is the difference?
open source,
Correct.
and then something mislabeled private, and then something that's proprietary.
Essentially,
Yeah,
there's some nuances in there that we can get into.
tell them.
So first of all, one quick clarification, because about 18 months ago is when, or maybe 2 years ago is when most of the people in the world had a firsthand experience with AI.
Yeah,
They had heard about AI for decades, or some people for decades. The difference was that when OpenAI launched their kind of consumer tool to play with, is when most people started using it and experiencing it. The fact was they had been developing it for 14 years. And the other thing that's really important is that AI isn't just language AI. So what they built was called a large language model, and that is around speech and text and language. There's lots and lots of AI, incredible AI that has nothing to do with large language models, has nothing to do with ChatGPT, has nothing to do with Gemini or any of those. So there's a whole host of sales tools that use AI that are very, very intricate, complicated, incredible. And they use things like deep learning and neural networks and all kinds of things to surface answers. What we're talking about today is kind of the experience that most people have with AI and OpenAI in particular, and what's that different than a proprietary, secure, scalable, kind of different version that we're using for your project.
okay, so if I go to ChatGPT and I say, what's the best opening line on a cold call?
Right.
They're going to come back with a bunch of stuff. Maybe they give it an attribute, maybe they don't.
Right.
And that's your answer. Go with that.
Yes. Go ahead.
What we decided, yes, ma'am, you look like you have a question.
I was going to say, why do they sometimes give an attribute and sometimes not?
So it's essentially an architecture question, which is, so something like Copilot thought it was important that it would show you where it got the answer. Now, it'll show you where in the world it got the answer. So it might be a HubSpot blog, it could be an encyclopedia passage, what have you. ChatGPT is the way that it works and the way that it processes and the way that it comes up with a generative answer is not quite as dependent on particular pieces of information.
And ChatGPT forgot about one element of this whole process called copyright.
There's a few huge lawsuits going on right now.
Oh, yeah.
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 Well, the problem is, so when you have these language models, you have to have them trained. And the way you get them trained is you ask them questions and then you see the answer and you fine tune it and you correct it and write more code. And the more questions that are asked, the smarter it gets.
Yeah.
And the brilliant thing that OpenAI did was that they launched ChatGPT. We as humans, as people in the world, thought this is great. They gave us a tool to play with. That is not what they did.
Right.
They allowed hundreds of millions of people to train their AI for them at massive scale to get them to revenue quicker.
Yeah.
So they could get a version that we'd pay for much
So
faster.
they are the new Robin Hood. They rob from the rich and from the poor, and they keep everything for themselves.
Yeah.
Just be aware.
Right, because everyone's feeding them questions and
Nothing's free. Yeah.
it's learning that way.
Yeah, 100%. It was brilliant. It was almost as brilliant as Benioff's use of the app cloud for Salesforce.
But it's not, there's a bit of Napster in it.
There's a few what might even be called poison pills in it.
Yeah. So just be aware of the fact that when you get an answer, 100,000 other people are getting the same answer. Just be aware
Right.
of that.
Well, I think it's
Right.
important to think that what is it trying to do at the most basic level? What it is actually trying to do is predict the next letter in a word. So that taking that to scale, it then predicted the next word, then the next sentence, and the next paragraph. That's all it's really trying to do. And what it's using for its reference and all of its answers is the entire internet. So it has ingested the entire internet. But also what that means is that it's aggregating and generalizing the answer. So what you're getting is kind of from a 1 to 10 as far as smart, unique, amazing, unusual, cool. You're getting a 5 almost all the time. That's its goal.
And it's not going to be emotional, and it's not going to be funny. It's not geared to be emotional. It's not
Correct.
geared to be funny. Mechanic.
It's not necessarily geared to stand out because it can't tell,
Right.
millions of people.
And it doesn't give a shit. It literally doesn't give a
Right.
shit. By the way, don't touch me anymore.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so, but here's the thing, this is for you, salesperson or sales leader or business owner that's looking to be able to use this to build your business. Because you don't care about what it is, you only care about what you get.
Right.
So you don't
Right.
know how it works. Yes, you can take a $500 course that'll teach you how to do a prompt, but wouldn't you really just rather have an answer? I mean, do you really want to sit down and give up your beer and Netflix to learn how to use AI in a way that you understand AI? You don't even know how your smartphone works. So I'm just looking at this from the perspective of what could we do that would give you a fast answer that's accurate?
Right.
That's it.
Yep.
Fast, accurate answer, because that's what salespeople
Well,
want.
valuable, right?
Yeah.
So
Can I
technology
use
is,
this to make a sale?
technology is supposed to help us, right? Make us
Yeah.
better, smarter, faster. And I was talking to somebody this morning, and I kind of used the example that if you're a 2 out of 10, if you're a pretty rock bottom salesperson, ChatGPT could make you a 4 or 5,
Oh, yeah.
but it's not going to make you an 8 or 9.
No,
Right.
because it's not going to make a 5 and 8.
Correct.
It's
Correct.
just going to give you stuff to do, and you're going to have to modify it anyway.
Right. I mean, when really smart people run something that says, like, what are the best opening questions? It feels like a master of the obvious, because they're like, well, or like, how do I prospect? Well, research your prospect, and then,
Yeah,
it's
it's going to give you a bunch
it's
of
pretty obvious.
yeah,
Pretty
it's
obvious.
going to give you a bunch of stuff that makes no sense. I mean, you're going to already know that,
Yeah, I already know it. That's
and then you want to ask yourself. This is what I tell my audience: is if you say I already know that, then I want to ask you to ask yourself, how good am I at that? On a scale of
Right.
1 to 10, am I a 5? Am I a 7? Am I a 9? Where am I? And do I need more information? And if I do, how do I get it?
Right.
So we were lucky through Richard, and we found a platform that will not only take you to an answer, but it will show you where it got the answer from. So you can read more or less, but if it's a video, it'll take you right to the spot in the video. And that's what you want. You want fast, accurate answer. And you don't want to have to tell it what to do. I'm calling on shoe stores right now, and people have smelly feet, and what do I do? No, that's not what this is about. What this is about is how can you get to their heart and to their wallet as fast as you possibly can, and that's what we have.
But I think it's also really important that what you dreamt up when we were sitting having coffee, and I said, "What are you dreaming up next?"
Yeah,
And you said, "I want an AI version of myself." The difference between something general and something like an actual clone of Jeffrey Gitomer,
right.
those are very different things. If
You
you
don't need my clone. You
Yeah.
just need my answer. Believe me.
right,
You know,
if you can't put information into ChatGPT, then it is in the general world. I mean, and you see this all the time. And ChatGPT will give you very, very strange answers. It'll give you wacky answers. It'll make some things up.
we're going to
So-
show you some of those examples later on, but for the moment, just you're going to have to take my word for it. We have looked at this from every single angle, and we've decided that proprietary is 900,000 billion times more powerful than open source.
Correct.
And so we have a proprietary platform that when you ask me a question, you're going to get my answer, not 500 other answers from people that are stupid, or the people that don't have the right answer, or the people that have an answer but it's mediocre. You're going to get my
Right.
street answer from New York, and the second iteration is going to be, you're going to get in street language as well. But let's just say we're PC for the moment.
Which is fun. Yeah. And
Yeah.
they're not getting that from ChatGPT because your information, all of your body of work is not open and available
Right.
on
You
the
can
internet.
get- You can get some of my stuff, but it's already been bastardized.
Right.
And no one cared about my copyright. No one cared about anything. They just put it in there like it was theirs to use. It wasn't.
Yeah.
So, and we've made it relatively affordable. So you can click, there'll be a link around. So I want to get, I want all this stuff. Okay, great. There's a place for you to subscribe. It's inexpensive, considering you're going to get 24/7, 365 sales answers in any language. And it'll take you back to the source, and it'll take you to everything else I've ever done on it. So just be aware that that's the package that you get. I don't want to make a sales pitch out of it because we're done this particular episode. But we will be back again sooner than you think, talking about other AI topics. And I appreciate your response. I appreciate your indulgence, and I certainly appreciate your subscription.